Well, welcome back. A musical landmark here in Nashville, the Station Inn recently turned 50 years old, and an in-depth book has just been released chronicling its story for more than 5 decades right here in Music City.
That's amazing. Author Elisa Murphy is here to talk to us about the venue's legacy and this labor of love to tell the Station Inn's story. Welcome in. We're so glad you're here. The book is absolutely beautiful, but tell us about the feel of it.
Yeah, it was, it was really important to us being a once in a 50-year book that we really take our time, get it right, and kind of do the highest quality job we could with it, because it's only going to happen once in 50 years.
Right. What inspired you to do this?
Well, the Station Inn is this wonderful listening room, and it has a rich history. And in particular, it specializes in bluegrass music, which, if you're not familiar with that genre, it is very sophisticated and very gorgeous music. And the people who play it, I think, are just the best in the world.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you interviewed more than 120 artists for this book. Vince Gill, Marty Stewart. Why was it important to include all of those different voices within one book?
Well, this has had such an impact. The Station Inn has impacted music worldwide because you've got these great entertainers that come in there, but you've also got the first-time person who gets up on the stage and says, wow, this is my first time being able to play in this iconic venue. I wanted each of them to be represented, and there's thousands of them. So I wanted to get kind of a widespread feel to it. But also, I wanted to include customers, because what happens in there that's so special is really the exchange of energy that occurs between the performer and the customer in this really intimate and authentic space.
Well, as a longtime customer myself, I will say, the Station Inn is this tiny little place in the midst of a neighborhood that has really blown up over the years. But what always stands out to me whenever I was younger is that there was a sign that said, like, no dancing. And there was talk around the city that you had to be permitted, have a permit, rather, to dance inside the venues. I don't know if any of that was true or not, but I think it might be.
Yeah, I think it was. And, really the Station Inn is focused on being a listening room. So it's not a traditional honky-tonk or that kind of a bar, sports bar that you think of. The focus is really on the music and the performers, and they're the best musicians in the world. Nashville musicians, and especially bluegrass musicians, they're the best that there are out there. So the customers really want to sit and focus in on the music.
Yeah, and you're almost a part of history, which is so cool, just going there. I've got to ask, were there any certain stories that stuck out, or amongst your research, that really you thought, wow, I had no idea?
Yeah, well, there's so many.
Yeah.
And the artists that perform there, they love it, they revere it, and because of that, they really opened their hearts up to me and shared really personal and emotional stories, as well as funny ones. And I think some of them, like Steve Earle, you think of him kind of as this zany, hardcore rocker, but his history actually started in 1974 when he hitchhiked to the Station Inn. You have people like Vince Gill, who has a wide array of experience in music: gospel, country, western swing, and now rock with the Eagles. And he credits bluegrass and the Station Inn with the basis for his musicianship. And in fact, he wrote the mid-book commentary with me. And to me, that's just a fascinating story, that one place can influence someone that then takes that out into the world.
I'm fascinated by your love for this place. I love it as well, but you live Pigeon Forge, right? You work for Dollywood regularly. So were you just fascinated by the stories that were in these walls? Was there a specific musician that you loved personally to go see there that kind of inspired you?
No, actually, it was when I experienced the magic that happens from the stage. There is an interplay that happens there between the customer and the performer that just doesn't happen at other venues. They interact with them, they might share a pizza with them on the break, they might hand them their guitar. That just doesn't happen at other places. Here at the Station Inn, the customer actually is part of the show and influences what happens in the show. And that just fascinated me, that emotional reaction that happens between the two parties. It's not a division, it's not a ticketed event. Instead, it's like we're all one family in there, and we're all sharing the music and the moment.
Got that special sauce. Thank you so much. This is awesome. Everyone, check out the world famous Station Inn and visit the venue. You can see their full list of performances at stationinn.com.